All right, guys, let me zoom in a little bit. Okay, so today we are talking about, allow me to get organized, factoring when a is equal to 1. Last time it was a is greater than 1. This time a is equal to 1. And again, we want to make sure that it's in the standard form of a quadratic. So we have ax squared plus bx plus c. All right, and we want to make sure that when we're factoring with a equal being 1, make sure that a is actually equal to 1. We've factored with a being 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, anything but 1. But now it's going to be 1, and it's actually a little bit more simple. So you always want to make sure that the polynomial has these things, 3 terms, right? That it's a trinomial, so you can factor it. It has a degree equal to 2, so it's a quadratic, right? Second degree, right up there. And the value of a, this term right here, being equal to 1. So our example is going to be x squared plus 6x plus 8. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing we did before. We're still going to multiply our a term and our c term, and we're still going to draw the x. All right, so the only difference is when you multiply, you know that this is just going to be 8 times 1, so it's going to be 8. And we still bring down that middle brother that nobody likes. So the 6x, or the 6, moves to the bottom. And again, we think, hey, what multiplies to 8 but adds to 6? Well, that would be a 2 and a 4. So now we've split that middle term, right? With a 2x and a 4x. So I can rewrite my equation. I would write it as x squared plus 2x plus 4x plus 8. And then I would just go ahead and factor by grouping. All right, so I noticed that they both have an x in common, so I would factor out that x. And they have an x in common over here, so factor out that x, and I end up with 2. Over here, I notice, oh, they're both divisible by 4, so I'm going to factor out a 4. 4 divided by 4 is just 1, so I just have x, and then 8 divided by 4 is 2, so I have a 2. And then look, my parentheses are matchy-matchy. I have x plus 2 and x plus 2. So I would rewrite them, x plus 4 in one parenthesis, and x plus 2 in another parenthesis. And I'm done. Do you guys notice that these are still the same numbers that I factored out originally? That's the cool thing about when your a term is equal to 1. You technically, as soon as you know the factors, what splits that middle term, you can put it in parentheses. But if you're still comfortable factoring by grouping, and that is completely fine. So let's do another one. So our second example is going to be, let me see where I put it over here. Our second example is going to be x squared plus 3x minus 18. Okay, so again, I'm going to do my magic x. I would multiply my first and my last term, which is still just negative 18. And I'll bring down my middle term, the middle brother nobody likes. Now I need to think of, hey, what multiplies to a negative 18 but adds to a positive 3? And that would be a positive 6 and negative 3. Okay, so now I know that these are the ones that split my middle term. So I would end up with an x squared plus 6x minus 3x minus 18. Hey guys, remember when I said, when we were talking about factoring by grouping in our Zoom chat, how I said if that third term is negative, when you go and factor by grouping, make sure you take that negative out. So over here, I'm going to look and I'm going to see, oh, the only thing they have in common is an x. I'm going to factor out that x, and I'll be left with an x plus 6. And over here, the only thing that they have in common is a negative 3. Remember, because that third term is negative, I'm taking out a negative. So negative 3x plus 6. And then I looked, do I have matchy-matchy parentheses? I sure do. So I have x minus 3 for one, and x plus 6 for the other. And that's how you do it. And keep in mind, guys, I went ahead and factored by grouping, but when a is equal to 1, if I just look at the terms that split my middle term, those I can just put in parentheses. And that's it. Today's video is just a little bit shorter because it's a simpler way of factoring when a equals 1. See you on the next one.